Welcome back, poetry lovers, to another episode of the Poetry of JP. I am your host, JP, and today we're not just exploring poetry, we're delving into the lives of two extraordinary figures, W.B. Yeats and Lady Gregory, who through their passion for Irish culture played pivotal roles in restoring and revitalizing Irish national identity. Yeats and Lady Gregory were more than just poets and playwrights. They were cultural architects who, through their work, reignited a sense of pride and purpose in a nation striving to reclaim its identity amidst foreign rule. In this episode, we'll explore how their efforts helped save Ireland's cultural heritage, using Yeats' poetry as our guide. We'll also discuss the hidden meanings in these poems that reflect Ireland's history and mythology, meanings that remind us of the power of two determined voices in shaping a nation's destiny. Let's begin with one of Yeats's most cherished and famous works, the Lake Isle of Innisfree. This poem is often celebrated for its serene imagery and deep yearning for peace, but it also carries echoes of Ireland's historical struggle for self-determination. Here's the full text. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of linnets' wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement gray. I hear it in the deep heart's core. The Lake Isle of Innisfree is often viewed as a personal reflection, where Yeats expresses his longing for a simpler, peaceful life, but on a deeper level. It symbolizes a retreat to an idealized Ireland, an Ireland that is pure, untainted by the chaos and conflicts brought on by the British. Innisfree becomes a metaphor for Ireland that both Yeats and Lady Gregory sought to preserve, a land rooted in its own traditions and free from foreign influence. At the time Yeats wrote this poem, Ireland was under British control, and there was a growing movement to reclaim Ireland's cultural and political autonomy. For Yeats, Innisfree was not just a physical place, it was a representation of the Irish people's collective desire to return to their cultural roots and revive their national identity. This yearning is central to understanding how Yeats's poetry contributed to the larger cultural revival that he and Lady Gregory spearheaded. The landscapes in Yeats's poetry are not just scenic backdrops, they are imbued with the memories and the myths of Ireland's past. To truly appreciate Yeats's work, we must explore the rich tapestry of Irish mythology that he, along with Lady Gregory, worked tirelessly to preserve. One such poem is the Song of the Wandering Aengus, which draws directly from Irish myth. I went out to the hazel wood, because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream, and caught a little silver trout. The Song of Wandering Aengus is deeply rooted in the legend of Aengus, the Celtic god of love and youth, who wanders in search of his ethereal beloved. This poem does more than just retell a myth. It reflects the persistence of the Irish spirit in the face of adversity. The hazel wood and the silver trout are symbols drawn from Irish mythology, connecting the reader to the other world, a mythical realm where the divine and mortal worlds intersect. Yeats and Lady Gregory understood that preserving these myths was essential to maintaining Ireland's cultural identity. Angus's journey is symbolic of the broader journey of the Irish people, seeking to reclaim their heritage, their stories, and their rightful place in history. This cultural revival, spurred by Yeats and Lady Gregory, was not just about art. It was about national survival. For those fascinated by the intersection of poetry, mythology, and cultural revival, Yeats's work offers a profound insight into how these ancient stories continued to shape modern interpretations of Irish identity. As we delve deeper into Yeats's work, we can't ignore the powerful influence of Irish history, especially the struggle for independence. One of Yeats's most famous poems, Easter 1916, directly responds to the Easter Rising, a pivotal event in Irish history where nationalists sought to end British rule. I have met them at close of day, coming with vivid faces from counter or desk among gray 18th century houses. And moving toward the end of the poem, we find the lines, all changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Easter 1916 is more than a recounting of historical events. It's a profound reflection on the transformation of a nation. The phrase, a terrible beauty, captures the duality of the uprising, a moment of intense sacrifice that also held the promise of a new, independent Ireland. Yeats understood that this event was not just a political rebellion, but a symbolic continuation of Ireland's long history of resistance, a history that stretches back to the ancient warriors and heroes of Irish legend. The Easter Rising was a turning point, much like the cultural revival led by Yeats and Lady Gregory. Both sought to awaken a dormant national consciousness, drawing on Ireland's ancient past to inspire its future. Through their efforts, Ireland's struggle for independence was not just a fight for political freedom, but also a battle to preserve the cultural soul of a nation. For those seeking to understand how Irish history and mythology converge in literature, Easter 1916 is a powerful example of how poetry can encapsulate the essence of a nation's struggle and the role of cultural revival in that process. Yeats's partnership with Lady Gregory was crucial to the Irish literary revival. Together they sought to revive and preserve Irish folklore, ensuring that the cultural memory of a pre-colonial Ireland would not be lost. This collaboration is beautifully reflected in Yeats's poem, The Stolen Child, which intertwines mythology with the harsh realities of Ireland's political landscape. Where dips the rocky highland of Sleuth Wood in the lake, there lies a leafy island where flapping Hurons wake, the drowsy water rats. There we've hid our fiery vats, full of berries and the reddest stolen cherries. Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand. The Stolen Child is a haunting exploration of innocence and lost, deeply rooted in the fairy lore that was integral to Irish culture. The poem presents a world that is both enchanting and dangerous, a world where a child is lured away from reality into the mystical fairy realm. But beneath this magical narrative lies a darker commentary on the loss of Irish cultural identity. The child, symbolizing the Irish people, is stolen from their heritage and lured into a foreign world, much like how British rule sought to erase Ireland's native culture. Through this poem, Yeats and Lady Gregory highlight the importance of reclaiming and preserving one's cultural roots, a mission that they devoted their lives to. For those interested in the deeper meanings of Irish poetry and its connections to historical events, The Stolen Child offers a profound commentary on the cultural impacts of losing a national identity and the vital role of cultural preservation. As we explore these poems, it becomes clear that Yeats's work is not just a reflection of his own thoughts and feelings, but a powerful commentary on the mythological and historical identity of Ireland. His poetry, much like the efforts of Lady Gregory, serve to preserve ancient myths while situating them within the context of Ireland's struggle for independence and cultural self-definition. Through their words and actions, Yeats and Lady Gregory remind us that history is not just a series of events. It is a living narrative shaped by the stories we tell and the identities we forge. Their work shows us how two dedicated individuals can indeed save a nation's heritage, ensuring that it endures for generations to come. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of W.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory, Irish mythology, and the rich history that intertwines within their work. If today's episode has resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for listening.